The Kimberly Magic Academy isn't like any other magic academy that you can think of, although you can say that the school is so strong. About 80% of the students graduate yearly because the others have been consumed. It's the beginning of a new academy year, and several students, in hopes of becoming magicians, register for the academy. They are set to experience the excitement of being new students, which doesn't leave them. While some of them are glad, an entire team of 6 students, who are the main characters of the anime, have practically no idea about what they are going to meet in this new school. But they are optimistic regardless. One of them, Oliver Horn, is the first to pass through the walkway to enter the school. On his way, a flower starts speaking to him. He calls the flower Madam. As Madam tells him, he looks very anxious. He asks Madam if she can recognize how he looks and if he indeed looks anxious. She tells him that he should at least be cheerful about his new resumption, even though he doesn't know about the terrible future that awaits him. He smiles and tells her he will heed her advice. As he walks away, he wonders if that is the same way the flower sows fears into the heart of every student resuming school. He thinks about her words about the terrible future and admits that she may be right because he really doesn't know the kind of future that awaits him in that school. He stops walking when he sees a female student, Katie, standing in front of him in a fearful manner. Katie has also heard the words of Madam, and she is very afraid because of the way the flower has spoken to her. She thinks about the terrible future the flower means and hopes that it would be a joke and not a reality. Another male student, Guy Greenwood, who sees Katie, realizes that she is very scared and afraid. He meets her to console her and tells her that she doesn't have to worry about what the flower says. He tells her they are Magiflora, and it is rumored that they feed on the magic particles that are around, which makes them behave weirdly. He tells her that those kinds of flowers around that side are weirder than she can imagine. She tells him that she likes fauna too and she is glad she can see fauna around the school. They try to get to know each other better, and when he asks her what kind of fauna she likes, she says she likes anyone, big, small, and even slim. Their sweet conversation is interrupted when another female student, Michelle, screams at another male student, Pete, because Pete is about to step on Madam. Pete asks him if he knows what Madam will do to him if he steps on her, and Madam also calls him a rude student. Pete picks his bag from the floor, adjusts his glasses, and says it isn't like he has asked Michelle for help in the first place. Just as he is about to continue his journey, another student enters. She looks so different from the others and she isn't even putting on the normal clothes they could have inferred that other students would put on. She looks like a samurai, and the other students wonder who she is with her prideful attitude flying behind her. The young lady, Nano Hibia, walks beside all the students and goes her own way. Just like Madam's normal way of scaring the student, she attempts to scare Nano in the same manner and tells her that she has a different attire. But Nano doesn't even give her the attention she seeks, and she walks away. Oliver is so attracted to her. He doesn't know if it is because of the way she has dressed and how it is different from the way other students have dressed, or because of her presumed strength and look. All he knows is that it looks like it is a predomination. It is just like fate. After the fated meeting of these 6 students, they all join their other students to watch the first parade of the school. The parade starts with the passing of Fauna. When Guy sees the Fauna, he recalls that Katie had earlier told him that she loves Fauna and enjoys seeing them. He looks at her, wondering if she will be excited, but he sees she looks more disturbed than excited. He asks her if she is no longer in love with Fauna as she claimed, but she tells him that Fauna isn't the problem. Instead, she has a problem with the fact that the school is making a troll parade in front of them. In that same parade, they have seen Flores, Fauna, a dragon, and a troll. Katie tells Guy that it isn't good, as they have captured a troll to parade. She claims a troll is just a species like humans, and if it is not the case that humans invaded their circle, there is no reason trolls will find their way into the midst of humans. Guy doesn't have the same opinion. He tells her that trolls aren't even innocent as she makes them seem to be. He reminds her that it is these same trolls that destroy human farms and even kill humans. In his opinion, trolls are just like any other monsters who have been captured and can be used in any way. This triggers Katie even more. She refuses to accept what Guy is saying, and his words make her angrier, turning the conversation into an argument. Pete, who is standing in front of them reading his book, gets angry that they are using their arguments to disturb him. He warns them to stop, and Oliver tells them that they can resolve their individual differences later. They can talk better when they eventually know each other's names because at this point, they are still strangers. Katie realizes that Oliver is right. As she is about to introduce herself, someone releases a spell on her and starts controlling her legs to make her run towards the troll. At first, Oliver and Guy assume she is doing it purposely and try to call her to stop, but she screams that her legs are running on their own. They figure that she is under a spell, and they know that if she runs towards the troll, she will die. Michelle McFarlane also notices what is happening, and she goes to meet Pete Raston, and they all run to stop Katie from getting to the troll. The troll has run out of control. It kills 2 animals, and as Katie is about to reach it, the person removes the spell on her leg, and she falls. The troll walks towards her to step on her. The other students wonder how they can stop the troll, but Nano screams, "Halt!" And the troll stops. Nano goes to the front of the troll and asks Katie if she can walk. She tells Nano that she can't walk, and Nano says that she will help Katie when she is done dealing with the troll. The other 4 students wonder how it is possible for Nano to single-handedly defeat the troll. Michelle, seeing that Nano could be in danger, decides it is better for them to call the attention of the troll to themselves to save Nano and Katie. She tries to use her magic, but the troll isn't even bothered by her. Oliver tells them the best they can do is to distract the troll. He asks them if they can all use wind magic, and when they say yes, he asks them to throw their wind magic towards a direction. Then he creates a fake dragon cry to distract the troll. His distraction works, and when the troll gets distracted, Nano brings out her sword and she jumps as high as possible to strike the troll. As she jumps, her hair changes color to an innocent color. Oliver wonders what kind of person she is, and to their shock, Nano defeats the troll. She comes down and appreciates the students who have helped her. She tells them she couldn't have distracted the troll if they hadn't interfered, and she feels numbness in her hand. She tells Katie that she will help her up once she recovers. As a result of their acts that morning, they get separated from the other students. They are kept in a room where Oliver asks Nano if she has a plan. When she stands before the troll, Nano says no, and she doesn't even have a katana. He asks her what she could have done if they didn't save her, and she says she could have died. She sees it as being saved from dying on her first day in school, which is a lucky sign. Oliver finds it difficult to understand what kind of person she is, but he knows that the innocent color that she changed to while fighting shows that she has a good tendency for magic. Their headmistress, Esmeralda, arrives. She apologizes for what happened earlier and says the troll had been captured and the injured students have been taken for treatment. She tells them that in that school, what they care about is freedom and results. She reminds them that their life and death are in their hands, and they can either die or live. She assumes that they may think she is joking, but she claims she is serious. She says that out of 100% of them that have resumed into school that day, only 80% of them will graduate alive. Some would be consumed by monsters, some would be dragged by the monsters they summon, and with one circumstance or the other, about 20% of them will die regardless. And the ones that die will be said to be consumed by magic. She claims she doesn't feel bad about that because that is how they have raised the standards of their school to that day. She reminds them of their role and asks if they have a question. Nano tells her that if she feels headaches, she should rub the sides of her head. Esmeralda asks her if that is the question she has, and Nano says it isn't really a question but advice because Esmeralda looks like she needs help. Esmeralda says that in the absence of any questions, they should all go for their banquet. She says that they are free to interact with each other and sit down. They wonder where they will sit since there are no seats there, and she hits magic that carries them to the banquet in the dining room. The old students join them and try to welcome them to the school. They tell them that although the headmistress may be harsh, everything she has said is true. But the senior students are trying to make the school safer for the newcomers. As it's time to eat, the students reconvene again, but this time, Katie isn't with them because she has been taken for treatment. She joins them, and they introduce themselves. Michelle McFarlane tells them she is the eldest daughter of the McFarlane family, and Guy also recognizes her with their family signature family hair. Katie also introduces herself and says she is a transfer student from Farnland. Guy Greenwood tells them he is from many magical farmers and loves plants. Pete Raston claims there is no need to introduce himself because his family is commoner, and he isn't there to make friends with them. He concentrates on his book, and Oliver recognizes the book he is reading, so they talk a little. Nano Hibiya tells them she is from a samurai family at Yamatsukuni, and she came there after a man named McFarlane saved her from dying at war and asked her to come. She says the man has the same hair as Michelle, and Michelle says it is her father who works as a part-time lecturer at the school. Oliver Horn introduces himself as a magician from a long line of magician family. He says he has sisters and brothers who have graduated from that same school, but he presently lives with a relative. They get to know each other even more and go to their dorm. Coincidentally, Oliver and Pete are roommates. When Oliver wakes up the next day, he goes to cover Pete's body so he won't catch a cold, as he remembers how Pete had warned him not to disturb him when he is reading. Oliver takes a walk where he meets a random lady. He asks her who she is, and she tells him his brother, Gwen, has appointed her as Oliver's secret escort. Oliver asks for her name, and she introduces herself as Teresa. He hopes to see her face later in the future. As he walks around, he coincidentally sees Nano bathing naked. He quickly uses magic to create a cover for her and asks her why she is doing that publicly. She says she isn't bathing but purifying herself from the blood of the day before. He asks about the scars he sees on her body, and she says they're from the war. When she finishes her bath, she claims she didn't come with anything to clean her body, so he gives her his coat. She appreciates him and tells him she is indebted to him. He also looks at her, wondering that despite how strange and innocent she looks,